6.
Is a pragmatism that needs to come into these kinds of things. We have massive trade relations with China, for example. What I found interesting in your art is avoiding gratuitous hostility. Tell us what you mean by that.
I am not saying that we should shape our foreign policy simply to appease Washington or Brussels. What I am saying is that there are real economic stakes here that give South Africa preferential access to U.S. markets for many of our products. Now, it supports a lot of jobs in sectors like manufacturing and agriculture.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
In the next hour of the show, it is the upside of failure. The good things guy will be coming through. Brent Lindeque, stay tuned, it's 2 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Khomotsa Modise. The Johannesburg High Court has heard that tender tycoon Vusumuzi Kat Matlala may be bringing a new application for bail. Matlala returned to the High Court today together with his wife Tsakani and 3 others. They face 25 charges for 3 botched hits between August 2022 and January 2024. They were initially arrested for an attempted hit on Matlala's ex-girlfriend, socialite Tebogo Tobejane, but were later also charged for 2 other hits. Thanduluhle Ngcobo has more.
Vusumuzi Kat Matlala was advised by the Johannesburg High Court that he should bring an application before the urging court for a transfer from super maximum security prison in Bongweni. This was after he complained about the conditions, saying he cannot prepare for his trial at the facility. But today, his lawyers addressed the court on a potential bail application on new facts. This would be Matlala's 3rd attempt at a release on bail after he was denied bail in the Magistrates Court last year and his appeal also failed in the High Court. The matter has been postponed to next week. Thanduluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
The sectional head for quality management in the police has denied using her position to benefit.
Thanduluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
The sectional head for quality management in the police has denied using her position to benefit tender tycoon Matlala. Brigadier Rachel Majeng is back in the witness seat at the Malanga Commission. Majeng claims she was romantically involved with Matlala and the large cash deposits made into her account by him were gifts and not bribes. In evidence presented before the Malanga Commission, it shows Majeng assisted Kat Matlala with filing an invoice to SAPS. Commissioner Sesi Baloyi has questioned her on this, saying it fell out of her scope of work.
Your involvement in this way was because it is Mr. Matlala and you were assisting him. That's what I'm putting to you. You were deliberately assisting him because of your relationship with him.
My comment, Commissioner, I do not agree with your suggestion because I could have assisted any other service provider the same way that I was assisting Mr. Matlala.
Meanwhile, newly appointed NPA head Andy Mutibi will give his inaugural media briefing as prosecution's boss this afternoon, as he's set to give a briefing on matters relating to the Malanga Commission. Mutibi will brief the media alongside National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola. Masemola is also expected to share details of the SAP's safer festive season operations. Parliament has dismissed assertions that Speaker Togo Didiza is protecting Paul O'Sullivan and Brown Mokgotsi from appearing before the Police Ad Hoc Committee after she declined to issue subpoenas to force them to appear. Members of the committee had earlier called on Didiza to issue subpoenas after the two refused to appear without their security concerns being addressed. But Didiza says the committee was not considered or had not considered their request to her satisfaction, and she was merely following legal principles. Babalo Ndenze reports.
While Brown and Mokgotsi wants private security around the clock paid for by Parliament, Paul O'Sullivan says he fears for his life and wants to appear virtually. Speaker Togo Didiza says in a statement today that the ad hoc committee has not substantively engaged with or applied its mind to the reasons O'Sullivan advanced when declining his request for a virtual appearance. On Mokgotsi, Didiza says the records before her do not demonstrate that the committee substantively engaged with the personal security concerns he raised in relation to his physical appearance. ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Nduli brought the matter up during yesterday's National Assembly Program Committee meeting.
We ourselves as an ad hoc committee had not adequately responded to the concerns raised by those two gentlemen, in which they were arguing why they should not appear before the ad hoc committee.
Didiza has now requested that the committee properly engage with the reasons advanced by both witnesses. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
And the European Union has told TikTok to change its addictive design or face heavy fines. The Chinese-owned platform was found to be in breach of the bloc's digital content rules. After a 2-year probe, the European Commission says it found TikTok was not taking effective steps to address negative impacts from some of its features. It says TikTok was believed to be in breach of the Digital Services Act for its addictive design. Gold is trading at $4,888.51 an ounce. The rand's at 16.14 to the dollar, 21.93 to the pound, and 19.09 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.55 a barrel.
Well, at this stage in Boksburg, Brakpan, traffic remains heavily backed up on the N17 eastbound between Rondebolt and Heidelberg Road. Also in Benoni, this is on Atlas Road. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic between Main Reef Road and the N12. Traveling between Brakpan and Benoni, there's also slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones.
It's partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng today, temperatures peaking at highs of between 29 and 31 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Johannesburg High Court has heard that tender tycoon Vusmuzi Kat Matlala may be bringing a new application for bail.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Six minutes after 2 o'clock, it is the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons. With me, Relebogile Mabotja. We do what we do best on a Friday. It's food, it's music, and then let's get inspired together. I'm so looking forward to this one. The Good Things guy is in the building. Yes, he's been here since he was with Mandy Ween on the Midday Report. Brent Lindeque, make sure you get in touch with all of your questions. 011 8830702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
The upside of failure, and so interesting that we have this specific person at this specific time on the show. He is the founder of the country's top good news platform. He's an entrepreneur. He's an author. He even brought me his book, Only Good Things. And he is known as South Africa's Good Things guy, Brent Lindeque. Welcome.
Oh, what
Thanks
a great
for
intro.
Coming. You drove from so far, from one studio to the next.
One studio to the next. I walked out of one studio.
And came back.
And then I came back into the studio. No, it's great to be here. Wow. What an absolute honor to be on your show, to be, chatting about real stuff, because that's what it's about, right? It's a lot of people, and I'm sure we're going to get into the story. Obviously, we will. A lot of people might see Good Things guy, and some people only find you might be listening right now, going, "What is that?"
Yes.
And then you find it, and you're like, "Wow, this is so incredible!" But it's 11 years old, and my story with Good Things guy is 12 years old, and me as a wink, wink, 29-year-old man. I'm not really 29.
I'm sitting and I'm like,
no, 41.
What
41.
is he using for his skin?
Yeah, no. I can get away.
I was like, Chris Jenner's that you?
So I mean, there's a whole life experience that has now brought me into where I am today. And
but I have to say, and sorry to cut you there, because I'm like, I want everybody to get an opportunity to delve in your background, but let me tell you why timing is so divine. And I'm going to do my best to not get emotional, is I have had so many people writing to me to say, thank you for giving David Sejobe his flowers while he was alive. And Good Things Guy did a story on him too.
Yeah, we did.
And I kind of was thinking when I was chatting to the team, and I was like, isn't that weird? We will talk about having someone on the show, and then it might not happen at that time, but it happened to have happened this specific time where for us it's been such a full circle moment with the show. But also, isn't it phenomenal how, and I don't know if you feel the same way, watching what's been unfolding over the week, what really has stood out for me is like, we love each other as South Africans. Like, it is so insane that just yesterday on our Belief Matters feature, we're talking about this interfaith group where different leaders from different faiths have gotten together to discuss how they're tackling GBV from their faith perspective. And I was just thinking to myself, it's been a harrowing, painful week. But all I could think about is, how is it that as South Africans, we have this ability to love people we don't know? There are people who are only finding about David now that he's passed on, that are touched and in tears. And because of the work that you do, where you only intentionally look for good news, which is like, it's so weird because I discuss the other stuff and try to say, how do we navigate through it? I'm curious as to how you have sort of absorbed the David Sejobe story, having seen it from where it was to where it is now, seeing how South Africans are reacting. I can't tell you how flooded my DMs are of people saying, I didn't know. Some people thought that we're only celebrating him now that he's gone. And now they're like, wait, there was this story.
Yep. Yeah, so we covered his story when he did that big cycle for his dad. And that was a couple of years ago. And
2022.
2022.
Yeah.
And when the news broke over the weekend, what was profound is how people who had never met him resonated with his story. And I believe, and this is just my opinion, it was because he was such a kind human being. And the legacy that he leaves behind is that memory of him being an incredible human, an incredible South African. And other South Africans have seen themselves within him because we are love. And many times there are many different challenges that we face as a country that divide us. Sometimes the things that divide us are placed to divide us. It's people doing things. I don't want to bring in politicians, but
strategically and systematically.
We are divided. But as a country, the way we unite is, I've got goosebumps because it's real.
And this is why I was so excited to talk to you about this, because you have intentionally created your own rose-tinted glasses for the positive. And the way I connect that to David, and I truly encourage everybody to go to YouTube and watch that first interview because of how he easily said, no, I just cycled to Orange Farm, it's just here. Yeah. And he said, it's just one toll gate, and it's all about perspective. I want to add something with the David story, which has been so amazing to see. And first of all, it's the messages, right? So we as a team have been reporting on the crowdfunding campaign, which was launched last week, Saturday, which is today sitting on 520,000 Rand for his family. And the messages there are just, it's soul stirring to read how David has moved South Africa. But the other side of that, which, don't want to get emotional. I know, I'm with you.
is how South Africans with so little are giving back. Because if you go through the crowdfund, there are the big numbers. There's a company that gave 10,000 Rand, and then there's someone who's given 500 Rand. But if you scroll through, it's people that are donating 10 Rand, 20 Rand, 50 Rand. And if you think about that in the bigger scheme of things, if you don't have a lot, but you're willing to give some of it away in honor to remember someone, and it's not only just about honoring him and remembering him, but it's highlighting his story even more. That's what that does. That's what those 10 Rands and 20 Rands do. And they all added up to over 500,000 Rand, which, yeah.
I have always received the most generosity from the people who have the least. But the one message that truly stood out for me, I think he was commenting on Facebook or Instagram. And he said, I have been working my whole life to achieve tick certain boxes, just so I could live the life that David is living. Isn't that wild? And we will look at security guards in inverted commas hierarchy of society as people who are minimum entry level workers. But can you imagine somebody says, I've been climbing the corporate ladder doing all these things just so I could live the way he's living, which is happy every single day. What obviously absolutely shatters my heart is how he passed on. And I can only, there's that thought in my mind that maybe if he had been taken to the hospital immediately or an ambulance called, he would still be with us, right? But I'm also like, the message has been, he's completed the purpose, which we will never forget him.
Never. There are moments, I've been doing this for a decade now, that I've been reporting on good news. And there are moments that stay with our country forever. And this is one of those moments. It's one of those moments that we'll look back on David and we will remember his name and we will remember his story. And because of him and his legacy, there are many more South Africans that have been inspired to be a little bit kinder, to be nicer to each other, to have that beautiful big smile that he had, to carry that around. And I think that's the legacy that he leaves behind.
Definitely. Yo, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we find out how it all began in a world that is so dark, so painful, so challenging. Why did one guy say, I want to be the good things guy?
The Vodacom United Rugby Championship is one of the hottest tournaments on the planet. Hollywood Bets adds spice with an epic competition in which 400,000 Rand in cash, prizes and betting vouchers must be won. Prizes include a Vodacom URC VIP experience and a glamorous Table Mountain adventure. To enter, simply bet 30 Rand or more on any Vodacom URC fixture between 23 January and 16 May. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
It's official. Auto in General covers the world's best drivers. We're proud to be an official tournament partner of Live Golf South Africa 2026, the first on African soil. Stand to win tickets to the event and your share of 100,000 Rand. Here's to a world-class tournament. And the insurer that never misses. Auto in General, never not there. Auto in General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP T's and C's online.
At Checkers, 2026 is better with over 1,500 deals. Like Lancewood Double Cream Yogurt 700 grams or 1 kg tub, any two for 79 Rand, save 31 Rand. Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink 2 litre, any two for 45 Rand, save 11 Rand. And Kellogg's Cornflakes 1 kg for 74.99, save 10 Rand. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Celebrate the month of love with great sleep at a great price from Dial-A-Bed. Trust the sleep experts and save thousands, because right now you'll get 20% off all 40 Winks mattresses and bed sets. Shop in-store or online today for your less 20%. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
As mining evolves toward automation, green metals, and resilient value chains, Gauteng is turning its legacy into tomorrow's opportunities. Catch 702 in conversation with the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. This coming up soon. Discover how they're showcasing the province as a platform for investment, innovation, and scale, linking today's opportunities to tomorrow's deals. Don't miss 702 in conversation with the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency today on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
20 minutes after 2 o'clock, the upside of failure, and we are with South Africa's good things guy, Brent Lindeque, 011 8830702. The WhatsApp line 0727021702. I want to talk about how you got into what you're doing, because I did that exercise one day where I don't know if it was me doing early breakfast or overnight live, one of the shows. And I said, let's do an exercise where we only do good news. That's it. What do you think happened on that radio show that day?
I would like to think that the studio was lighter and that the listeners were thankful and that everything just flowed. And that's me with my rose-tinted glasses on, because I know the truth.
And the truth is, no one had anything to say. We shared the good news, so much of it from around the world, from home. And this platform in particular thrives on engagement, not on monologues. And I don't regret that exercise, and I still think it's very important to regularly find something positive. I mean, Wendy Nola's feature this week, we had a positive, like, oh, thank goodness, something positive with good feedback of a brand that did something amazing. But why do you think it is that we don't like good news as people? Why do good news not travel as fast? Why do we revel in things that are not positive?
Well, I guess it goes back to that old age saying that says, if it bleeds, it leads. And if the story is harder and tougher and you know, then it travels more. We share it on our WhatsApp groups. We talk about it at the dinner table. It's almost like when you're driving on the highway, and you don't automatically do this. So it's not something that we want to do as humans. It's not something that we like lekker, that we're proud of.
Yes.
But if you see an accident, you're going to look.
That's why we slow down, because we want to see.
You want to see what's going on there. And an accident is not a pretty thing. But in the same breath, over the last decade, I've seen in equal measure how good news can do exactly the same when we choose to let it. So my story, you asked how it all started. 12 years ago, the 31st of January 2014, which is just a couple of days away, minus 12 years.
When you were 10 years old.
When I was just 10 years old. I mean, at least my face was.
Yes.
There was something that was happening around the world, and it had been going on for a couple of weeks. So since like December 2013, it was called NEC nominations. And the whole idea, it started down in Australia, and the idea was simple. Drink as much as you possibly could, alcohol. Do something silly. So like, I don't know, jump out of a helicopter, skateboard down a road, eat live goldfish. People were doing the craziest things. And they were uploading these videos online and then nominating people to outdo what they'd done. And like I was watching this trend, there were millions of videos being shared from all around the world, including South Africa. So people were jumping on this. It was like the first original challenge. So like on TikTok now we get challenges all the time. This was the OG.
Yes.
But the one just before the ALS bucket challenge.
Yes.
This was it. And I was watching this thing from here in South Africa, and I got to the office on the 31st of Jan, and I opened up my computer, and there was a friend who had done something as equally silly. I mean, I drink, so I'm not saying like it's terrible. I drink.
Yes.
I love me a mimosa.
Yes.
But at this moment, when I was watching this thing unfold in front of me, I was like, we could use social media in such a better way. Like we really could. This challenge is fun, but what is it actually achieving? What difference is it making? So I got nominated, and I could have joined the challenge very easily, but I decided instead to do what people would refer to as a random act of kindness. Was it? Because it was kind of calculated. I went to a store, I bought an extra sandwich, a chocolate, and a cold drink. So there's the calculation. And I wanted to give it to the next person in need. Not difficult in South Africa.
Yes.
There is someone on every single corner in need. And I handed over.
Not you, Camps Bay.
Oh, no. We're talking about.
Except there's a housing crisis, so never mind. I take that back. So there's a millionaire in need of a home.
Badly. Or just a garage parking space.
So you went and then.
So I handed over that meal to someone that was on the road. And my colleague captured that video with my phone. And I got to my office and I uploaded the first YouTube video I'd ever put up. And it went viral, like properly viral. And I say viral, I mean, things go viral now all the time, right? You open up your social media and this is going viral today and it's forgotten tomorrow. This carried on for weeks.
Wow.
Weeks. I was all over the news, both locally and abroad. My first interview that Monday was actually 702, which is so funny that I now am with 702. But it was all over the place. CNN flew out a crew to do like a little documentary on me to speak about how I call myself a very average South African, had managed to change a global game. Because what had happened overnight is millions of people, first a couple of hundred, then 1,000, then millions.
Wow.
Of people around the world had decided to change their neck nomination into a rack nomination, which is a random act of kindness, right? And this thing was born. And it went on for weeks. It was just weeks and weeks and weeks of me being tagged in videos and me being on shows, both locally and abroad, and on newspapers and all sorts of things. All of a sudden, everybody was contacting me, including charities, businesses with the most incredible CSR organizations, and individuals to tell me about their good things that they were doing. Because he has this guy, he's done so much good. I need to tell him what I do.
Yes.
And
you had nowhere to
put it. And I had nowhere to tell those stories. And I'll tell you this, that in that moment when I was surrounded by all this good news, it was the first time in my life where I didn't feel like South Africa was falling over. We often live in the state of mind, which is almost like in a state of fear, right? With the news that we see on a daily basis, we're waiting for that moment to happen.
Yep.
It's like we're on the precipice of something.
And continuously anxious.
All the time.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my entire existence on this planet, with a 10-year-old face. No, I'm joking. I didn't feel that way, and I wanted other people to feel the same. I wanted them to have that hope in our country. I wanted them to feel proud. I wanted them to hear these stories. So it took me a little while. It took about a year. I had a podcast, and I was on Cliff Central, and I had a little feature on CNBC on a Friday night. So I was sharing the good news in different spaces, but it took about a year. And on the 1st of August 2015, I officially launched Good Things Guy as a blog. And it was, the whole idea was to share one good news story with South Africa every day. And a decade later, 11 years this year, we're South Africa's top good news site. We reach 35 million South Africans on a monthly basis. We share, and I say we because it's a full team. It's a media team. We share up to 20 good news stories every single day from South Africa to the world. And that's where it all started.
To just say, I don't believe in anything being a coincidence, and that random act of kindness, I still believe is random, because that thought had to cross your mind. And many people have a positive thought cross their mind. There are even fewer people who do something about it. Because you'll see something on your way home. Maybe you'll be like, oh, this park is so messy. It would be so cool
if it was
to come clean it up. But nobody really follows through with the doing of the stuff.
A great analogy there, and I don't want to upset any of the listeners, so I'm not calling you out, and I'm not judging you.
Yes.
But a great analogy there is going to the movies.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the movie, you just leave your popcorn and your cold drink there for someone else to clean up. Like, doesn't it start with that simple act of, let me clean up what's around me, and then that filters into other spaces? But I'll tell you this, right? So the universe, I wrote about this yesterday or this morning, because I sort of wrote 2 statuses about this moment that had changed my life 12 years ago. And one of them was focused on the moment, and the other was focused on the universe. So the 31st of January is when it happened. And then on the 1st of February was my grand's birthday. And she phoned me. I phoned her to wish her happy birthday. And all she could talk about was like, I saw you on the news.
Yes.
And I don't understand what's going on, but it's really cool. And everybody's loving. And it was so special. And then 5 days later, she died. Like, it was such a weird space to be in, because in the same moment that this beautiful thing was unfolding, and I was still doing interviews and whatever, I was dealing with the death of my gran. And when I wrote this thing, I said that moment, I don't know if it was God or the universe or perhaps my upbringing. Maybe it was all three. But something had pushed me into that space. And then we had to deal with my gran, and then I was still doing everything at the same time, and it was so weird.
But you know what's beautiful though, and what stands out to me is the fact that she got to experience that with you, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I'm a firm believer she's with you all the time, but you got to see her excitement.
Oh,
she
had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
She was like, what is viral? What is Facebook? I don't even know what's happening.
But everyone's talking about you.
Why are you on CNN? I don't know, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That is so cute. We need to go to the news. When we come back, we continue. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. I have the good things and the good news in studio. Khomotso, surprise us.
Thanks, Lebo. Good afternoon. The Johannesburg High Court has heard that tender tycoon Vusmuzi Kat Matala may be bringing a new application for bail. Matala returned to the High Court today together with his wife Tsakani and 3 others. They face 25 charges for 3 botched hits between August 2022 and January 2024. Newly appointed NPA head Andy Mutibi will give his inaugural media briefing as prosecution's boss this afternoon, as he's set to give a briefing on matters relating to the Madlanga Commission. Mutibi will make his address alongside National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola. Last week, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the establishment of a special investigations task team which will lead the probe of individuals flagged by the Commission. And the transport is proving to be the biggest challenge at this year's Winter Olympics. With events spread across 7 locations in northern Italy, organizers say the layout reduces environmental impact, but moving athletes and spectators around remains complex. While public transport has been expanded, unfinished infrastructure and long travel routes mean many visitors may still rely on cars. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're traveling through Boksburg heading towards Brakpan, there's slow-moving traffic on the N17 eastbound between Rondebolt and Heidelberg Road. Also, expect some delays traveling through the Bedfordview area. This is on the N3 northbound between the Gilulis interchange and Galdenays. Coming back to Boksburg, Brakpan, there's still slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones. Also in Benoni, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Atlas Road. This is between Main Reef Road and the N3. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. There's much to say about where South Africa is, and even more about where it's going.
On Thursday, 12 February, President Cyril Ramaphosa delivers the State of the Nation address, live from Cape Town City Hall.
702 Cape Talk and Eyewitness News will be there, analyzing every word and bringing you the news as it breaks.
From the build-up to the address to the conversations that follow.
Join Clement Maniatela and Mandy Wiener for live coverage and in-depth analysis from 6 to 10 p.m.
Live on the radio or live stream on the Prime Media Plus app. Sona 2026. Thursday, 12 February.
Live on 702 Cape Talk and EWN.
South Africa's musical theatre classic Marabi returns on the stage of the Market Theatre with an exceptional cast, launching the theatre's 50th anniversary year. This much-loved play with live music is directed by original cast member Ntate Arthur Molepo. Set in the tough Doornfontein yards of the 1930s, Marabi follows a family chasing hope in Johannesburg, bound by love, loss, and unforgettable music. Marabi runs from the 29th of January to the 15th of February. Visit markettheatre.co.za for tickets.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Don't just like an opinion. Raise your opinion. Access real news and entertainment. Elevate your understanding of tariffs, trends, and tries. Don't fall for misinformation. Stand up for the truth. Step up dinner time and drive time. Know how to lead, parent, and save. Ready to raise your game? Subscribe to News 24. Get unlimited access to our trusted journalism.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. Happy Friday, John. What's coming up on your show?
Happy Friday to you too and to all the listeners. Relebogile. So Fridays, we always do some special things on 702 Drive. I'll tell you about those in just a moment. But some of the big news stories, the United States and Iran holding talks in Oman. The implications, you can't state enough how important these talks are. Just on a purely practical note, for as long as things are unsettled in that particular relationship, we can expect expensive oil prices. We had a wonderful surprise and treat with the petrol price coming down this week. It's going to go the other way if we keep having a petrol price closer to $70 than $60. So we'll talk about those talks at 10 minutes past 4. They affect your life. So I hope you'll be able to listen to us there. But Langa Commission of Inquiry, as always, important things being discussed there. Tabiso Goba is there. Massive fire in downtown Johannesburg earlier today, Relebogile. I don't know if anyone either lives or works in that particular area of Lillian Ngoyi Street, but if you do, we hope you'll call in and tell us what you know and what you saw. But we'll get an update on that at about 20 past 3. The South African Social Security Agency, SASSA, is reviewing about 400,000 social grants, checking the authenticity of the claims made and the claimants. We'll look at that in more detail at 10 past 5. And people who listen to Bongani Bingwe in the morning will have enjoyed over many years now Adam Gilchrist and his updates from of important and also quirky stories from around the world. One of our listeners said, why don't you have Adam Gilchrist on your show as your songbook dish guest? And indeed, why not? Adam's with us at 20 to 6.
Absolutely looking forward to that one. 702 Drive with John Perlman from 3 to 6 p.m.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
The upside of failure, and we are together with Brent Lindeque, South Africa's good things guy. 011 883 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We've been chatting Ntate David Sijobe, and we've been chatting how one gets into a space where you choose to wear the filter only shows you the positive things. Brent, firstly, I have to just say, I love what you have in you, and I'm trying to find the word of what it is. It's almost like you recognize the opportunity, but you were flexible enough to go with whatever this thing was that you didn't even know. Nobody had done it. And on top of that, I'm sure if you had called 10 journalist friends, they would have said, don't do it. They never do well. It's always like shoved somewhere at the back of the paper.
Correct.
But you did it anyways. I have to ask, what was the thing that kept you going when sponsors might be like, that's not sexy content for us? You know, you want a team, you need money, it doesn't sell.
So for the first 7 years, I worked continuously for the first 7 years. I didn't take a day off. Not Christmas, not New Year, not my birthday, not the 1st of January. It was that consistency that I think made, that laid the foundation. I'm going to say it's three things. Consistency, a little bit of obsession, because I may have been obsessed with telling these good news stories, and a love for it. Right? So there was that love and that passion to do this thing. Can I add one more ingredient? Are you going to say crazy?
I was going to say you have to have a bit of a loose screw somewhere. And I'll tell you why.
I'm so glad we're on the same page.
No, we really are, because the work we do in its different forms, where the reward is not necessarily going to be instant. And a lot of the times you don't know what you're going to get, right? So you have to be a little bit crazy to bet on, I don't want to say nothingness, but it's almost nothingness. Yeah. And it's not the same as faith. It's a little bit of a madness that comes with, you know, being a creative, I sort of see certain personalities, but in my mind, I'm like, there has to be a screw loose.
No, there was
somewhere.
Absolutely. I had a belief in something that I don't think anybody did at the time, and it was tough. My family, for them it was in some ways difficult, especially for my partner. There were birthdays that I'd miss. There were evenings where I was still working. It was this continuous thing that I was working towards. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it would become. But I was like, I know it's going somewhere. I need to give it my all. So that's what laid the groundwork. What kept me going, which was the question that you asked.
Yes.
What kept me going was the stories themselves. So being able, when I started, my main aim was to share one good news story every day, just one. And then that obsession thing kicked in.
Yes.
And one became three, and
because now the more you look, the more you find.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one became 3, and 3 became 6. And that was my standard was I had to share 6 stories a day.
Yes.
For 7 years. Until I started to get a team, which are now fantastic. We love them. I love my team. They're great. But back then, over a decade ago, just finding one good news story a day was difficult. It was so difficult. And it wasn't because it didn't exist. It's because the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis in South Africa were so big. There were so many of them that hard news, it didn't give way for good news to shine through.
Sure.
So it was super, super tough. And then as the platform started to grow, and it grew pretty rapidly. In the first year, I think the servers that I had at the time They got sort of oversubscribed. So there was too many readers. It was like 10 times that I had to call the IT team and be like, guys, we need to up the service.
Yeah.
Like we need to be able to handle more readers. So it grew quite quickly. And because of that, people started sending me their good news. So I was being tagged on Facebook. I mean, and to this day, I'm still tagged. I get DMs, I get messages, I get emails. When I wake up in the morning, so I don't monitor all the inboxes because obviously each journo's got their own inbox, and then we've got an editorial inbox that my editor sort of runs. But I still have a peek in.
Yes.
Our inbox overflows. It overflows with people wanting to share their good news. And so those stories, when someone phones you or tags you and goes, look at this, look at what's happened here, that fed the fire in my belly.
And I hope, and I'm including myself in this, that we have to be intentional about finding the things that are going to keep us going. Because I think sometimes we think motivation is just going to like spark. We think it's this aesthetic thing of a morning routine and then you're suddenly in it. But you have to actively be intentional about looking for it in your world for you to keep going.
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yes.
Eat, pray, love.
Love.
Well, then she was my girl. I don't know about now. Some things have happened.
Things have changed.
Things have changed. But she was back then one of my favorite books and favorite movies. And there's a quote that she says, and I'm going to butcher it completely, but she says that every single day you have to make the choice about the thoughts that you put in your head exactly the same way that we choose what to wear or what to eat. We have to choose those things that we are feeding our minds with. And I need to put like a little T's and C's here that it's not always going to be easy.
Yes.
Some days are a lot tougher than others. Not every day can be a happy day, but we can try. We can try.
We really, really can. And again, coming back to David, he was very intentional. It didn't matter how hard a day he had. He still chose for 12 hours a day, standing on his feet, to wave at everybody that was not even in his KPI to greet. Like, you know,
So-
they were not even in his KPI to greet.
So one of my biggest life lessons, I've got three. I mean, there's many life lessons that I carry with me, and I share them all the time. But there's three that really are my foundation, and those three things are: the first is that average is not good enough. Like you if you wanna achieve more in life, you have to aim higher. You have to think bigger. The second is to always do what is good and what is right, because then the universe knows exactly what to give back to you. Whether you're a faithful person, you're religious, or you believe in manifestation, whatever. If you do what is good and what is right, you know what is coming back to you. And the third thing, which is maybe the most important, is that nothing matters more than kindness. And kindness can literally save a life. So you speak about David. David was the epitome of kindness. And that's why I think people are so moved by his story. A couple of years ago, we told this story on Good Things Guy. There was a young lady by the name of Natasha, and it took her 4 years to be able to retell the story. So this story was sitting inside of her for 4 years. She lived down in Walmer, and she had called an Uber. And the Uber driver came and picked her up. And the Uber driver is this, I can only describe him as a big burly man. He's massive, and he's got this massive beard and the most beautiful smile. And he put her in the Uber, and they started driving away. And he said to her, "Hi, ma'am, how are you?" And Natasha replied, and she said, "I'm fine." And he looked in his rearview mirror, and he said, "Look, we've got a bit of time.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on. How are you?" And Natasha just started crying. She was having a really rough day. She was not in a good space. And she cried with such emotion that Barto is the name of the Uber driver. He pulled over the car And he went to her door and he said, "Ma'am, can I open your door?" And in her tears, she said yes. And he said, "Ma'am, can you just get out and can I give you a hug?" And he shared a very human moment of kindness. And she got back in the Uber and they drove away. And in her post, and when she'd spoken about this on social media in the public space, she'd said that it was like a weight of the world had been lifted off her shoulders because someone cared. And then she said that because someone had cared, he had saved her life because she was on her way to take her own life. And she sat with that story for 4 years. What I love about social media, and the reason we reported on that story, is because the 6 degrees of separation have now turned us into the one.
Yeah, you can just find the person.
Find the person, and Barto did. He found that post, and this massive man, this giant of a man, he put up a TikTok video where he was sobbing because she had changed him as well in that moment. And he said that every time he drove past that same spot where he had picked her up for 4 years, he'd said a little prayer to just hope that she was still okay. Kindness has the ability to save lives.
Yeah.
And if we can lead with kindness, if we can take a page out of David's book about being just better human beings to each other, South Africa and the world would be a better place.
Significantly. We need to take a break, but you're reminding me of the story. For those who don't know, please go find it online. It's in the US where this woman thinks she's messaging her grandson about Thanksgiving and she messages the wrong person. But long story short, they're from like a white family in the South and he's young black man and he's like, wrong person, but what are you guys cooking? He continued going there for years.
Still, to this
year?
I saw it this
They're like
year.
on their 8th or 9th year of
Together.
going to have this together. So beautiful things can happen. Take a break.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pump jeopardizes access to clean water, disrupts service, and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. 702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
8 minutes to 3 o'clock, the upside of failure. We're chatting to Brent Lindeque, the Good Things Guy. Please head over to his website, goodthingsguy.com, and you can also find his book, Only Good Things. And I'm just so grateful at the timing of this conversation, and I hope that those of you listening have some beautiful takeaways. On the WhatsApp line, there's a message from Paula, says, Brent has changed my Fridays. Every week I block out my diary to listen to him on Mandy's show. It's my therapy for the week. Thank you so much, Brent. And we also have a voice note on 072 702 and 702.
Good afternoon, Relebogile and 702, the Good Things guy. Trust you're well. Kindly advise how do I share my story with the Good Things guy? I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
So, how do they share stories with you?
Oh, it's so simple. So we have got an email address, a dedicated email address for stories, and that is stories@goodthingsguide.com. So stories with an S at goodthings with an S, goodthingsguide.com. And you can send all of them over there. The editorial team are watching that inbox like hawks. They are waiting for your good news.
So, sometimes people look at folks like yourself who are very intentional about spreading good news, and I'm sure they assume that, oh, you're just a happy-go-lucky guy, completely unaware of some of the challenges you may have faced in your life. You spoke already about your nana passing away. What was it like losing your father? And how have you navigated grief? I mean, a week like this, I know even if people just hear of a death, it can be triggering of others. How have you been navigating that?
I have a disgusting relationship with my grief. It's something that I carry on my sleeve, not because I want to, because it just will never go away. And losing my dad was very sudden. So he'd gone on holiday to a malaria area, Mozambique, and he'd come back to South Africa, and about 2 weeks later, he thought he had a cold.
Yep.
So on the Monday, he thought he had a cold, and went and self-medicated. And on the Tuesday morning, he was completely incoherent. He couldn't string a sentence together. He got hospitalized on the Tuesday, and he died on the Wednesday.
Wow.
So it was like very, very sudden. And I really, really, really loved my dad. He wasn't the greatest dad. He did silly things, and dads are dads and they're human. But he was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful human being. And everybody that knew him absolutely loved him, and I loved him. I loved my dad. And to lose him has been one of the biggest tragedies of my life. When I wrote about it, because I write, that's what I do. It's cathartic for me. And I described that phone call that I got. My whole world shifted, and I forgot how to breathe. I fell to the floor, and I was trying to open up the ground so that I could grab onto something that could just ground me. And I never really found my footing again. And it's been 15 years, which is it's tragic to hear that I haven't gotten over it. Right? Grief is not linear. We know that, and all these great things, but it rears its head, and it rears its head often.
Yeah.
So we speak about the upside of failure. One of my failures is how I have not come to terms with grief, or I've not come to terms with my father's death. And there are moments that trigger me. It's the oddest things. The oddest things.
But you know what? I just thought about something now when you said, I almost feel like if you had come to terms, and I put that in inverted commas because we all have a picture of what that would look like, right? I think something in you would have been so changed and irreversibly so. And I think there are certain things that remain there to keep us humanly vulnerable and soft in a very weird way.
Yeah.
And I think it's also reminders. It's little reminders for us. You struggled at some point in school. You've not passed certain things.
No, but I know what you're referring to.
You're going through so many things that people can look at and be like, what? This successful guy went through that. Please share with all the listeners through every single one of the things that felt like a failure at the time, that you might still feel are a failure even now. What is the biggest lesson you have learned about failure?
My biggest lesson about failure is that it's not finite. like the moments that we perceive are so incredibly important in those moments are generally not. And they're character building, absolutely. So you speak about failing stats first year. I was devastated.
Yes.
Devastated.
Stats is hard though.
Devastated. and then in second year, I had to redo first year and apply my mind, and then I got a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that we can overcome. And sometimes the problems look so big when we're looking at them, when we're in the moment. And really, sometimes they're not, you know?
Thank you so much for coming through. I might steal you from Mandy. I'm going to send her a message.
Mandy would not be kind.
She will not. She'll be like, you're going to turn me into a bad guy. Head over to goodthingsguy.com and subscribe, and you can get good news in your inbox every single day, just to remind you that, hey, you're here and we're still doing it. We have a way to go, but there's always something positive around us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been incredible.
Congratulations to the recent Powerball jackpot winner who bagged a mind-blowing jackpot of over 178 million rand. Here's what they said.
Winning the second highest ever recorded Powerball jackpot in Mzansi through my FNB banking platform is unbelievable. I only played with a 15 rand wager. Thank you, Tuba, for making my dream a reality.
Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 41 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday, and you could win big. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Media is changing fast. The question is, are you leading it or chasing it? The Pulse Media Leadership Conference is a one-day gathering of bold thinkers shaping what's next for media, marketing and leadership. It'll happen on the 26th of February from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. at the Galleria Conference venue in Sandton. Expect insights from Springbok coach Rassie Rasmus, CEO of Montegray Capital Michael Jordan, and global marketing icon Seth Godin, joining us live from New York via Zoom. Tickets are on sale now, ticketpro.co.za. Prime Media Broadcasting is a proud sub-sponsor of the Pulse Media Leadership Conference 2026.
Whether you're a business owner in dentistry or in hospitality, switch to Outsurance Business Insurance today and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium.
It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. SMS business to 47543. That's business to 47543. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful weekend. It's 1 minute after 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Duduzane Zuma appointed to the MK party's leadership, and senior cop says she asked Kat Matlala for some Ozempic. Good afternoon, I am Khomoto Modise. We begin with news just in. Former President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane Zuma, has been appointed to the MK party. Former President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane Zuma, has been appointed to the MK party's presidential task team. The team, established in a number of provinces, is set to work hand in hand with Zuma as party leader. Today, the KZN team was announced, featuring Zuma's controversial son. The team also includes Member of Parliament Sibonelo Nomvalo and traditional leaders. The Malanga Commission of Inquiry has heard how a senior SAPS official asked suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Kat Matlala to procure the weight loss drug Ozempic for her. Section head for quality management at SAPS, Rachel Majeng, says she made the request to Matlala since they were in a romantic relationship. Majeng has taken the witness stand for a second day at the commission. Tabiso Koba reports.
More details are coming out regarding the relationship between senior police official Rachel Majeng and suspected crime boss Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. A WhatsApp exchange presented before the commission shows Majeng asking Matlala to buy her Ozempic. At the time, Matlala had a medical company which recently scored a 360 million rand tender from SAPS.
Normally you will struggle to get it from the chemist. So they had a chemist that they were buying Ozempic. And I then requested him as a boyfriend to say, can I have my Ozempic?
While Ozempic has been used for weight loss, it is primarily a drug prescribed to treat diabetes. Commissioners raised concerns over whether Macheng was trying to procure it illegally. However, she told the commission she had a prescription. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Now, at the same time, the Johannesburg High Court has heard that Matlala may be bringing a new application for bail. Matlala returned to the High Court today together with his wife Tsakani and 3 others. They face 25 charges for 3 botched hits between August 2022 and January 2024. They were initially arrested for an attempted hit on Matlala's ex-girlfriend, socialite Tebogo Tobejane, but were later also charged for 2 other hits. Thanduluhle Ngcobo has more.
Vusimuzi Kat Matlala was advised by the Johannesburg High Court that he should bring an application before the urgent court for a transfer from super maximum security prison eBongweni. This was after he complained about the conditions, saying he cannot prepare for his trial at the facility. But today, his lawyers addressed the court on a potential bail application on new facts. This would be Matlala's 3rd attempt at a release on bail after he was denied bail in the Magistrates Courts last year, and his appeal also failed in the High Court. The matter has been postponed to next week. Thanduluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
Members of a community organization have disrupted a public meeting hosted by Johannesburg MMC for Human Settlements, Mlungisi Mabaso, in Soweto. They're accusing him of repeatedly not delivering on his promises. Members of the National Social Ills Group walked up to the stage of the Doornkop Community Hall in Soweto, shouting at him. Mabaso is engaging the public on applications for RDP houses in the area. Jabli Lambata has more.
Every 5 years,